Hello friends, this is Shay and welcome back to Shay's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of my all-time favorites. This is going to be a Salisbury steak with mushroom gravy, and we're going to be using ground turkey today. Obviously you can use ground beef, but I had some ground turkey, so that's what I'm going to use. So starting off, we're going to have about 1.5 pounds of ground turkey. And this is not the super lean. I think this is like 93.7, so 93% lean, 7% fat. And we're just gonna go in and season it with some regular kosher salt, some ground pepper, and then we're gonna use some seasoned salt. So I am eyeballing this. I will definitely try my best to put it, close to matches as far as how much I'm adding. But this is like a cooking with the senses here. I'm just looking at about how much I'm adding and then just adjusting and adding more as I go. So I've also added some chopped onions, also some ground garlic, as well as some Worcestershire sauce. And so we're just gonna mix it up. I usually go in with my fork first to mix it up, just to kind of keep it kind of fluffy, the meat, so it's not so packed down. And then just by seeing the meat, I see that we could use just a little bit more of that seasoned salt. And I'm really just looking at the color of the meat. Actually, I didn't use that much kosher salt, so that I know that I can actually give or be a little bit more generous with the seasoned salt there. So now what I like to do is I like to form all of my patties first before I start to fry them up in my pan. So what I'm gonna do is just roll each patty out so that I can get roughly the same size patties. And this way, once I'm done pinching off the ground turkey to see how many patties I'm actually going to be able to form, then I'll go back and start to pat those out. So right now, if this is your first time tuning in, I hope you really enjoyed this video, but I would love for you to like, share, and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell and follow me each and every time I upload a brand new meal idea, specifically catering to working women. So back to the video, we are just going to pat those out, and these are not going to be thick burgers. These are going to be, I would say, medium-sized patties. And I press them out so that when they cook up, they'll be like the perfect size roundness for like a single serving of Salisbury steaks. So I have a 10-inch cast iron skillet here that I'm heating olive oil over medium-high heat. You do want to make sure that your skillet is very hot before you start adding these, because if not, you won't get that perfect sear and you'll have to cook them longer in order to get that. So go ahead and just make sure that your medium high is there before you start adding the meat to the pan. So now we're cooking those for about 5 to 7 minutes, and we're gonna flip them once the edges start turning white. Now obviously that is not gonna work with ground beef, so you still just wanna cook those 5 to 7 minutes on that first side and then go ahead and flip them. Either way, you should have a nice brown sear as you see here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue to cook these probably about another 3 to 5 minutes on the other side. I have a couple of batches, so after you finish cooking the second batch, you want to go ahead and remove the Salisbury steaks, and now we're going to go ahead and flip to the gravy portion. Now obviously I know that some of you may not be familiar or comfortable with making homemade gravy, so I will break this down in another upcoming video, so please stay tuned to that. So adding mushrooms is completely optional. If your family or if you do not like mushrooms, just completely omit this and go directly to the gravy. But what I have here is about 5 medium-sized mushrooms that I'm just sauteing up in some olive oil. And you want to saute them long enough until they're like this really pretty golden brown. So you do want to make sure that they don't burn, and they don't really burn black, they burn very dark brown. And because you already have the drippings left over from the Salisbury steak, they should caramelize up very well for you, and you just want to season those with a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, the pepper being optional if you do not want to add that. So go ahead and remove the mushrooms from the pan, and then we're gonna immediately start on our gravy. So here I have about 3 tablespoons of salted butter that I'm just going to melt up right on top of those drippings. So I did not clean out the pan or the skillet. You do have that option if you don't want to kind of taste that taste the flavor of the Salisbury steak. So I have done that. That is an option, but that's not what I'm doing here today. I'm just melting the butter, and as I melt the butter, I am trying to scrape off the goodies off the bottom of that cast iron skillet. Now, because I used 3 tablespoons of butter, I'm also going to add 3 tablespoons of gravy. And so once you add that, you want to make sure that you cook your flour. The biggest mistake I've seen a lot of people do is not cook the flour. So here I'm just cooking this up for about a minute or so. And after I've done that and I've continued to scrape the bottom of that pan, I'm just going to now get my liquid. And my liquid that I'm going to be using today is beef broth. Now, I have a big container of beef broth, and honestly, guys, this is something you will have to learn to kind of eyeball because it depends on what consistency of gravy you are going for. I like a thick gravy that's still relatively loose, so you want to constantly stir your gravy while you're adding your liquid. So that's what I'm doing here. And after I've seasoned it a little bit with the pepper, I'm going to taste it to see if it needs any additional salt. And because the longer you cook gravy, the thicker it gets, you will have to add just a little bit more beef. So definitely this is something that you have to stand and watch and kind of babysit. Unfortunately, you can't just like pour it and go. So don't go far. Tend to it. And honestly, guys, it is really that easy. Now, since I've reached the consistency that I want and I've added the additional seasoning that I'm going for by tasting. Remember, you can't cook without tasting. Now you want to drop your patties back in and just move it around and make sure that your patties are covered in all of that just gravy goodness, guys. And honestly, that's it. It's very simple to me, I should say. It's very simple to make. Definitely you can get it done with just a little bit of practice. You can serve them immediately, but I do like to let mine simmer for about 5 minutes before serving. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. I know I enjoyed making this. It really took me down memory lane because honestly, guys, this was my jam back in middle school and early high school. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Make sure to hit the notification bell and follow me on my Instagram at Shay's Kitchen. Until the next time, I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.